football, basketball, ran track, cross country, and played college basketball. I can't do those things anymore, but I can still play golf. And this is something that my two boys play, and they're very good at it. Matter of fact, my youngest son is like a 4 handicap. And it turns out that both my grandsons play golf. This new establishment is something that I think would help the community. I love to see when I go to the golf course, and I told Chris this, I love to see the junior golfers on the golf course. It's amazing to me that they take that game up. It's something you can play till you can't swing a club anymore.
Very good. We're close to your 3 minutes.
And I'm almost there. But the thing about it is, I just am here tonight to support them because this is a facility that I feel like would help this community and bring the game of golf around a little bit more than what it is right now. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir, please.
Cousin Joe, Burke Wilson here. I understand your concerns. I'll make this short and sweet. The town of Lewisville provides a lot of activities for the people that live here and around here and close. We got bicycles out the yin yang. I don't know if they're paying. We get taxes from it. I doubt it. We got pickleball courts used constantly. I don't think we're collecting taxes on that venue. Now, I understand we're not comparing apples to apples. However, I have known these guys for years, and I do believe that whatever they do develop down there, if they're allowed, is going to be a wonderful addition. I understand your concerns if you live by there, but it is a family venue, and I think it would enhance the reputation of the town of Lewisville. That's about all I got to say.
Could you state your name and address for us, please?
No, hell no. No, Burke Wilson. I'm at 320 Graydon Court in Lewisville, 27023. Don't come egg my house.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
How you doing? Paul Spicer, 925 Williams Road, Louisville, North Carolina. Just to let you know, 1997, I became an apprentice of the PGA GPTP program. 2004, I became a Class A member of the PGA program. I'm a teaching professional, been a club professional. Right now, I'm a traffic enforcement officer for the Winston-Salem Police Department motor enforcement team, which means I work a lot. And today was no exception. But I will not stand by and not come here tonight for these gentlemen, okay? Driving ranges, I also managed one of them back before I started the police department. We had the lights, we had timers, we had everything we needed to do. There was no noise. There was nothing to be concerned about. The only thing we got concerned about is some teenagers wanted to come out and steal some golf balls, maybe to play golf with. That's all we had concerns about. I have 2 children. One of them's 21. She's in nursing school at East Carolina. I got a 14-year-old son that's getting ready to be 15 in December. He plays golf, loves golf, and that's my golfing buddy. But I tell you what, family venue all day, every day. My daughter would take my son to the driving range and sit there and do her nursing homework if she's home. She has no problem with doing that. I have no problem with dropping my son off at the driving range, trusting what is going on down there, because I know he'll be looked after. But you know what? There's no other concerns down there. Maybe a stray golf ball. Hey, I've been hit by a few. But that's it. That's better than, having to dodge bullets. It's better than having to dodge cars or any other venue of nonsense that goes on in our society today. I love our square. I love Jack Warren Park. I love Johnny Moser Park. Use them all. But I tell you what, I'll use that one probably more than the others because I hate running.
Well, I appreciate your comments. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
My name is Brian Seek. I live at 3571 Robin West Drive, actually in Pofftown. My son has been going to see Chris. Well, both of us, Chris and Ricky, have been amazing. And it's not just for Charlie. I mean, your grandson, they do a lot for kids, a whole lot for kids. And we want to see them continue what they're doing to grow the game of golf. I'll keep it short and sweet. I think they have a great thing going, and I think what they have, their vision, I think would be wonderful without hindering the community. And I just love these guys to death. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir, please.
My name's Alan Nealons, 7817 Grapevine Road here in our little town. I'm a retired dentist. I have worked for 27 years with your council member, Dr. Ken Sadler, and have lived in Lewisville on and off since 1974. So I've been here for quite a while. I want to reiterate what these other gentlemen have said about Chris and Ricky. They are professionals. They are PGA teaching professionals. They have done a great job with that place down on Country Club Road, chaotic as it is down there. I would just like to compare it a little bit when you walk down that hill down into that low area down there. It gets so quiet from all of that road noise up on Country Club Road. It kind of reminds me of the Vietnam War memorial, where you walk down that incline. It just gets quieter and quieter, and you're almost reverent down there when you talk to the golfer that's hitting next to you. You know, you use a low voice. And anyway, it's just really pleasant to go there. I have friends at Salem Glen Country Club and also Bermuda Run West. They both have teaching and practice facilities. They come to Ricky and Chris's place because they're great guys, they're great teachers, and it's just a great establishment. And I know they'll continue that over on Shallowford over there. So anyway, I'm all for them.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir, please.
My name's Robert Robinson. I live on 140.
Come on up here, Andy. If you could get close to
Okay.
the microphone so we can hear you there.
Robert Robinson, 140 Sedgwick Ridge Court, Lewisville, of course. I don't even play golf. I have no idea even how to even hit a golf ball. But I think the reason we're here tonight is because I think these guys have exhausted every bit of their ability to stay where they're at. And I think Lewisville could grow a little, myself, personally. I love the town. I love the home feeling here. I love it. But in a sense, we're here because I don't think that's an option for them to stay where they're at. And I think sometimes it's hard for small towns to open up their arms and say, you know, let's grow a little. And I don't think it would hurt us one bit, really. And I think concerns with the creek and everything, I've carried on several conversations with my friend Chris. They're exhausting those ideas because I promise you, they're not going to just come in and bombard the place. I promise you, if you want a stand-up guy, right there he stands. That's all I'm going to tell you, is that's coming from somebody that don't have a dog in the fight. Now, if he needs help, I will go help him, but I can't hit a golf ball. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? All righty, thank you very much. Stacy, that does move us to the scheduled public hearing on this. Will you give us some context, please?
Yes, I did just want to give a little bit of background, kind of how we got here. So I know there's been many discussions surrounding this request for annexation and rezoning of the property located on Shallowford Road to be developed into a golf driving range. The Planning Board heard this request initially on December 13th of 2023. They voted unanimously to recommend approval of the request to the Town Council. On March 14th, the request was before the Town Council, where the applicants requested and Council granted a postponement of the public hearing until tonight, August the 8th. During that time, the applicants made 3 changes to their site plan to address the residents' concerns heard at those past meetings. First, the lighting, other than the lighting provided for pedestrian safety, has been removed from the plan. The building size was reduced from 4,500 square feet to 2,500 square feet, in turn allowing them to reduce the parking lot size from 42 spaces down to 29 spaces. So the request tonight is before the council, as this was the postponement date of that original public hearing, for the property to be rezoned to highway business conditional for the sole use of a golf driving range, contingent upon the approval of an annexation request that was scheduled to follow tonight.
Very good. Any questions for Stacy, council members? No. All righty. We do, this was scheduled to be a public hearing, so we will open that public hearing, but I believe the petitioner has a request they'd like to make.
Ricky Lyons, 6183 Old Fields Way. And tonight, we'd like to formally withdraw the request for rezoning and annexation as we continue towards the future, towards another resolution. So that's, I said we would like to withdraw our application for rezoning and annexation tonight, and we're going to keep working towards a resolution for the future.
Very good. Thank you.
Any questions?
I don't believe we need to have a vote. I believe it's just an acknowledgement that they can.
Right, correct.
Okay, council members, any objection to withdrawal of the petition? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Since we don't have a petition to have a public hearing on, we'll close this public hearing. I feel that there needs to be a little more explanation. We're kind of I guess, when this item first came before the council, I think we were very concerned about the highway business designation. That is a designation we did not want in that area. It's zoned right now residential RS40. In RS40, there are a number of uses that are allowed. Obviously, I mean, even a golf course is allowed in residential 40, which is really kind of interesting to me. You can have a golf course, but not a driving range. I think in the process of discussing this with council members and discussing this with the petitioner and discussing this with our manager and planning staff, we suggested that highway business was probably not going to fly in front of the council. With some research and with some investigation, we determined, and Stacy, you may want to jump in here to make sure I stay straight on it. We determined that the highway business could be withdrawn, petition could be withdrawn. We can have a amendment to our UDO, our text amendment, and to our UDO, and this particular facility would be allowed under RS40 still. So we wouldn't be changing the zoning of the property. As far, and I'm being, again, straightforward and up with everybody, the petitioner does plan on coming back in at a future date and reapplying or resubmitting a site plan for this particular facility. But it will be resubmitted under RS40 and not highway business. RS40 does give us a lot of latitude in the conditions that we place on that particular site plan. So we'll see how that comes forward in the future, but that's where we are right now. Wanted everybody to know that this wasn't kind of there was more process on this to come in the future, and so that's where we are right now on that. Stacy, anything to add?
Yes, I would like to add that I kind of have a list of people that are in the area, of who I've tried to keep in contact with through the process. The Russells is one of those, to let them know, kind of what's going on through the process. So if you'd like to be on my little list, I can give you a phone call. I just go down my list and call those that I have been in contact with, to kind of let you know where we're at in the process. Even though this would come before council once more for an annexation, if that's what is applied for at a later date, there are still public hearing opportunities. One for the UDO text amendment, the Unified Development Ordinance text amendment, that does require public hearings whenever we want to change our documents, and then the other is an annexation public hearing. Now, if they the way that it would be written in the ordinance, if it is approved, would be that they would have to go through review for compliance through the planning board. That is exactly how it is if they wanted to do a golf course currently, with a driving range accessory, just not a driving range as the primary use. So we want to be transparent with folks. So again, if you want to kind of be on that list, so I can keep people aware and everything, feel free to send me an email. My email address can be found online. Call me at Town Hall, and I can get you on that list of the folks that I've been calling to try to keep people informed of kind of what's going on. So.
Right, so Stacy, just to be clear, this is with the withdrawal of the petition, that also withdraws the consideration of the annexation.
That is correct, Mayor.
Council members, any discussion, any comment?
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ken. Go ahead.
I just wanted to be, I'm pretty sure I heard the manager say this, but I just want, just for clarity again, if in RS4, golf courses are already allowed, and with the golf course, you could have a driving range anyway. Is that what I heard her say?
That is correct, how it is in our ordinance currently.
All right, thanks.
And I should be clear on that, it's in the county's ordinance, so we really would not have consideration of that. Very good. Council members, anything else? All righty. Thank you very much. New business, Dora? Up with our facility use exemption policy.
Yes, sir. Over the last several months, staff and council have been reviewing the town's facility use exemption policy. We have particularly focused on the exempt user list. The ordinance before the council tonight, Ordinance 2024-025, reflects the changes that the council has discussed in recent months. It reflects changes to the list whereby some users are going to be limited with their use, and as well as the removal of some users. Staff is requesting council to consider adopting Ordinance 2024-025.
Very good. Council members, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Dora, is this policy separate from a one-time facility use, or is that within this policy?
So no, the policy that you are considering is the one that goes in the ordinance book. These are routine exemptions unless we have stipulations. There's some that can only use it 4 times per year. So these would not come back to council after this.
Okay. So if there was a organization that wanted to request a one-time facility use exemption, that's a separate policy.
Right.
Okay.
And organizations can still come and ask for a full exemption, but council would consider that once that request comes in.
Great. Thank you.
And Dora, would you give us just a sampling of the organizations that are on that facilities list?
Yes, sir. Just a moment.
She has it because she knew you were going to ask.
No, I know.
So on the list, we do have the local Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, the Lewisville Civic Club, our homeowners associations. They are one of the ones that are limited to one meeting per year. Our local schools, the ones that service Lewisville, there's 4 schools that we have listed. The Historical Society, our civic clubs, Vienna, Lewisville, our Lewisville Fire Department, those organizations, the Shallow Forward Foundation, and another one that has restrictions is the American Red Cross. That one is specifically restricted for the blood drives.
Very good, thank you. Any questions?
Clarification, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the Lewisville Historical Society have any limitations?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very good. Council members, what's your pleasure, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Hunt makes the motion, Mr. Huffman makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Dr. Sadler?
I'm going from a silence is consent.
Silence is consent then, okay. We'll accept that moving forward. Very good, that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Stacy, we have a traffic mitigation policy.
Yes, that is going to be handled by John tonight, but I did want to open a little bit with kudos to staff. I know that's been a long time coming, and everything, a lot of hard work that John has put in on that, research and everything. And we're really hoping that it will open the door for some help to our residents when speeding, cut-throughs, those types of things are a concern on our town streets, so that we can have a better policy in place, a more clear policy in place, to be able to help those residents out. So turn it over to John.
Mr. Hannah?
Thank you. I think you'll notice a theme, I think, in some of the things that Dora was just presenting, and a lot of what we're working on as staff is trying to streamline things, making things easier, make more sense, making it more user-friendly for residents. And for quite a while, we've been working on the traffic mitigation policy, trying to update and streamline this. And this is the policy that determines whether or how we address speeding in our neighborhoods and on our town streets, and anything else traffic safety related. We get a lot of concerns these days. We get a lot of calls. We have, real kind of pressure points and areas that there are a lot of safety concerns, whether it be speeding or cut through or anything along those lines. But one of the things we noticed is it's been a very long time since we had installed any new traffic safety mitigation measures or anything like that, and so we started trying to figure out what was wrong with this policy and why we aren't able to make things happen anymore. And so we looked at several things, and it was one of our main goals too was we realized just how how hard it is for smaller neighborhoods, smaller communities, cut through streets, things like that. Things without a robust HOA organization backing them. It was really hard for anybody to get anything through. So one of the first things we did was redesign the committee that reviews the traffic mitigation applications, and created the Public Safety Technical Review Committee, which is a professional as-needed review committee made up of staff and our local public safety professionals. That's specifically the town manager, the town public works director, another public works staff member, our community policing sergeant. Sneaks out when you start talking about it. Our Lewisville fire chief and our Vienna fire chief. And as for the process, one of the first things that we wanted to change was that originally, or in our existing policy, the petitioning group or the neighborhood or the folks that have come to us with a concern have been required to pay half of everything over $1,000 that particular traffic safety device would cost. And at this point, that's a heavy lift for a lot of folks. Especially, if we were talking about asphalt speed humps and things like this. We're talking thousands of dollars. And we pulled that out of there, felt like these were town streets, these are town maintained areas, these are town responsibilities. Safety is a top priority. We want to make sure that we can make these things happen where they're needed. So we pulled that out of there. The town will cover the cost. Next, we streamlined the traffic study portion of the policy, the committee review portion of the policy, and the public meeting and education process. Try to make everything there make sense, make it easier, make it very clear to people, and there again, hopefully make it more user-friendly. Now, we didn't want to take away all that sort of burden from the petitioning groups and sort of that burden of proof that things needed to be actually done and that everybody in the community was actually behind these things. And so the folks, the group that comes to the town, that comes and has a traffic safety concern, still has to carry out a canvassing process where once the affected area has been determined, then they still must go essentially door to door to at least 70% of the homeowners and property owners in that area, and they have to have reached at least 70% of the people, and they have to get at least a 65% answer in the affirmative in favor of whatever traffic mitigation procedure we're talking about doing. Whether that just be some small things like new signages, or whether that is something like a speed hump or speed cushions are one of the things that we really spend a lot of time looking at now, because speed cushions are speed humps that have cutouts in them that let the public safety vehicles get through, so it doesn't slow them down. So those things are measured to the wheelbases for the fire trucks. The fire trucks can pass right through them. Everybody else has to slow down when they go over those things. So that's one of the things that we'll really lean on, I think, in this process. And I hope that makes sense. Sounds like a sensible process, and thanks for letting us bring it to you.
Council members, any questions for John?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening and happy Thursday. I was not here last week, so I was on vacation and I didn't see the policy. I did review it since last week, but can you explain just in one or two sentences about the 70% that you mentioned? Where does the 70% come from? Just can you kind of summarize that a little bit more?
So it is a case-by-case procedure, I guess, depending on where, are we dealing with cut-through, are we dealing with speeding on a particular street? Cut-throughs are one of the big things that we get a lot of complaints about, and we see a lot of need for people that are using other people's neighborhoods to cut off, certain areas. But it would be case-by-case in that, depending on what we would consider the affected group of people. It may be the one street, it may be a neighborhood. Stacy, they have the ability to kind of map these areas, much like they do the affected groups in zoning procedures, that 500-foot radius or something like that. So we would kind of, as a staff, determine what that affected area is, and then that petitioning group would then go canvass that affected area, and they have to have reached at least 70% of that group of property owners.
Thank you.
And then not 65% of the 70%, but 65% of the greater affected area has to vote in the affirmative. So essentially, we need to know that the majority of the people in that neighborhood say, yes, we agree there's a problem, and yes, we can live with speed humps or speed cushions or something to make it better.
I will add to that, Melissa. That was in the original policy. That is not a new number that we changed, but kind of in reviewing this, we did feel like it was a good majority of, like a good 2/3 majority, 3/4 majority of who would be in the affected area once that's determined.
Thank you.
John, I have a question as well. A lot of our residents, they don't live on town-maintained roads. So just for those that might be listening to this and wondering, well, I live on Grapevine, does this follow for me? Can you just explain the difference briefly for those that might be watching, they're listening, or in the room that might be thinking, well, I'm on Grapevine, so I'm going to bring this case to y'all, what the proper procedure would be for those that live on NCDOT roadways?
Thank you. And so we do only have jurisdiction with this on town-owned streets, town-owned, town-maintained public roadways. The best way, if you're unclear, we have what's called the Powell Bill Map on the website. You can find it a couple different ways, but it's Powell, Powell, and that gives you a very clear depiction of the map of the city, and it's color-coded based on who has jurisdiction of that street. So you'll be able to go in and see your street based on what color it is, whether it's NCDOT, whether it's Town of Lewisville, or whether it's private, and that gives you a very clear depiction on whether we can do anything about it. If we can't, if it's state, there are other processes to go through with them, but it's kind of out of our hands at that point.
Yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Anything else, council members? One caveat I think is important. This does not preclude the Public Safety Technical Review Committee from, if they determine that there is a clear and present danger with traffic, that they can take that action independently of a neighborhood petition.
We can, yes, sir. There's sort of an emergency procedure in there that allows the committee to say, this is an immediate and direct public safety need, and we can bypass that 90-day plus procedure to get something done.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
All righty, council members, what's your pleasure, please? Motion. Sounds like Mr. Long made the motion, Mr. Huffman made the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. That passes unanimously. Dora, you have some cleanup to do on the next two items.
Yes, sir. The next two items are amending the zoning ordinance and the annexation ordinance that council took action on a couple of months ago for 2065 Glen Ferry Court. Since that action was taken, we have received new information from Winston-Salem Forsyth County Tax Office on the description. This does not change that they were annexed or that the property was rezoned. It's just bringing clarification to the description.
Very good. Any questions? It's your pleasure, council.
And we'll take one at a time to approve.
Yes, thank you. So the first one is the first ordinance is 2024, I've got on my glasses. 013. Thank you. Yeah, Lisa, I'm getting old.
Move approval.
We have a motion from Dr. Sadler.
Second.
Second from Mr. Huffman. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Number 2, which is an extension of what we just talked
Right.
about. Council members, what's your pleasure, please?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Long makes a motion. Mr. Huffman makes a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. Dora, I'm going to ask a question here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually, the next 4 are charter changes, and those pretty much are uniform through all the charters. If you'll just give an overview, we'll come back and take them one at a time, but we won't have to go through an explanation for all of them.
Correct. Thank you, Mayor. So the next 4 items before the council for your consideration are charter changes to the beautification, environmental, art, and parks and recreation charters. As discussed at your agenda briefing last week and in prior weeks, the revised charters reflect membership caps, quorum clarifications, and just general cleanup of each of the charter. So the first charter before you for consideration of amendment is Ordinance 2024-026, amending the Lewisville Beautification Committee Charter.
Any questions? Council members, what's your pleasure, please?
So move.
Motion,
Mr. Huffman makes a motion. I believe Ms. Puckett got in there for the second. Any discussion?
yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous. Next item.
The next ordinance is Ordinance 2024-027. It's amending the Environmental Conservation Sustainability Committee Charter.
Any questions? What's your pleasure, council, please?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Long makes a
Second.
motion. Mr. Huffman makes a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous.
The next one is Ordinance 2024-028, amending the Public Art Advisory Committee Charter.
Any questions? Council members?
Motion.
Move approval.
Mr. Huffman makes a motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. That is unanimous.
And the next one is Ordinance 2024-029, amending the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Development Committee Charter.
Any questions? Council members?
Motion.
Second,
Mr. Long makes the motion. Ms. Puckett makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 That is unanimous. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we do sound like we're going through these pretty quickly. I'll remind you that we do have a briefing session, which is the first Thursday of every month, and at that time, we go into these with a lot of detail. So it's not like we're moving through these without due consideration. We just have had a lot of briefing on these items, so we're prepared to expedite them when they arrive at the council meeting. There's more.
Yes, sir. The next item is Ordinance 2024-030. It's an ordinance to dissolve the Public Safety Advisory Committee. This is also an item that the council has been discussing for several months and discussed in detail last week. This is to dissolve it, and so we just present this to you for approval.
Any questions? It's your pleasure, council members.
Motion.
Second,
Mr. Huffman makes a motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. I would like to just footnote this one before we vote on it. The Public Safety Advisory Committee was one of the very first committees that we formed back in 1991, I believe, when we
so.
first incorporated They have done a yeoman's job through the years of taking a look at issues, public safety issues that affected our residents. We've kind of moved toward a much more staff-driven type of review of public safety issues with our fire department, with our community policing, and with our public works staff. So at this particular point, we've decided that the Public Safety Committee will be dissolved, but that does not at all diminish the role that they've had in our community, and our thanks to them for all the work they've done, and we'll be recognizing them at a future meeting. That's, we have a motion, we have a second, we have discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that is unanimous. Dora.
All right, and the final thing before council for your consideration is Resolution 2024-037. This is a request from the Forsyth County Fire Historical Society, Inc. They will be using the Mary Alice Warren Community Center on October 5th for a fundraising event. Council did discuss this last week, and the resolution outlines a one-time price reduction for them to utilize the facility on October 5th.
Any questions?
I have a.
Yes, ma'am.
So from a consistency stance, we have been, this is not consistent with our prior one-time facility use exemptions. For example, the Lewisville Clemens Chamber of Commerce, they got a full exemption. So I just wanted to better understand why we didn't give them a full exemption.
I think there was some concern about the number of rooms and the number of hours, and it is not a direct benefit to either the Lewisville or the Vienna Fire Department. Even though their memorabilia will be showcased with the historical thing, it's not a direct benefit to those two fire departments.
Okay. What about the percentage of residents that will be affected? Did we look at that?
Well, this is the Forsyth County Fire Historical Society, their mission is to preserve the history of all fire departments within Forsyth County. So it's not a direct impact to our residents either.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Council members, what's your pleasure, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Puckett, in a raspy voice, makes the motion. Mr. Long makes the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Nay.
I'm sorry, let's do a show of hands then. We have 2 nays. Okay, we have, that will be a 4-2 with Mr. Huffman and Ms. Hunt voting in opposition. Thank you. All righty, administrative reports.
Okay. So upcoming events taking place in the town at the Mary Alice Warren Community Center. I did want to quickly report, we did have a blood drive yesterday and met a very good goal. We had 3 Power Red donors, 35 units for a total of 38 units, and even had 7 first-time donors at our blood drive. So I don't know that the next one is scheduled currently, but those are very successful events at the community center. Then on August 10th from 8 to 12 is the next offered CPR class. Unfortunately, that class is full as well. That one's very successful too. So if you would like to participate in that, the next offering is Friday, November 1st from 4 until 8. So you can, I believe, go ahead and sign up for that next available date. At Shallowford Square, on August 31st from 7 until 9 p.m., the Bourbon Revival Band will be playing rockin' bluegrass and newgrass. I better be careful how I say that. And then I would like to add on September 9th at 6 p.m., the Public Art Advisory Committee, in collaboration with the Parks and Recreational Cultural Development Now Committee, we'll hold a community engagement event. What we want to do is inform residents about opportunities for improvements being made to Shallowford Square, asking residents to give feedback, submit their ideas for public art in the square, as well as ideas for a new playground, since ours will need to be relocated. So again, that is September 9th at 6 p.m. at Shallowford Square. And then in closing, lastly, town offices will be closed on Monday, September 2nd in observance of Labor Day.
Very good. Any questions for the manager? All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the next opportunity or final opportunity to address the council with anything that's on your mind. If If you'd like to address the council, please come forward, state your name and address. Anybody wish to speak? Very good. Council members, council comments before we adjourn.
Mayor, I would like to speak. I don't usually speak at meetings, just because I know y'all want to go home, but tonight I'm going to hold you for a minute. A lot of times what we see in our communities is if the lights aren't working, we all complain. But a lot of what our public works department does is underground. It's stormwater, it's sewer, it's helping maintain the integrity of our town. If you've been watching the news, the hurricane, now tropical storm, Debbie took a shift west just a couple of days ago, and it's further impacted what our town is experiencing and our community is experiencing. So like we had mentioned earlier, and Sergeant Stringer mentioned, just drive safe. But the reason I wanted to speak tonight is to thank the 4 members of our staff that are out in the community when these kind of issues happen. If you look out behind our building, there's a truck with a bunch of barricades off of it that are out in the community keeping y'all safe. So if you see any of them working, give them space, help them out if you are just driving by, and just say thanks. And John, this is me saying thanks to y'all for all y'all do. So a lot of times your work goes unnoticed, but if the road's flooding, they're going to call you. So I appreciate you and all your staff do for keeping us safe and helping us when times like this, we might not be expecting it, but when it hits, y'all are there. So thank y'all.
Anything else, council? Mr. Huffman, you stole my thunder on that one.
Whoops.
As is customary, the mayor tries to wrap up the thank yous and kudos. But in addition to our public works staff, by the way, John, you guys were out with chainsaws and barricades, and so please tell David and Hal.
Savannah.
Savannah.
David Howe and
Dan
Savannah.
was out there as well. Okay, please tell your staff, thank you very much, because it was rainy, it was dangerous, and we appreciate all they do. But also, thank you, Lewisville Fire Department. You guys got out there early. At one point, all 4 trucks were out clearing roads and working to keep our community safe. Our community police and deputies, they had extra folks on shift to be able to address the issues as they came up. And Duke Power, by golly, you were ready. You had Pike, you had all your vehicles out here. In fact, I haven't checked the outage map, but I think we're probably narrowing down now to just a few hundred outages. So great job that you did. And, you know, we talk about under-recognized groups. I want to thank the folks at Waste Management. It was rainy, it was windy, but they followed through with their route. They got the garbage picked up today. So thank you guys for all you do as well. We have a wonderful community, but we don't do it by ourselves. It's a real group effort, and everybody's pulling together, which really is what makes this wagon go forward. Council members, staff, any other thoughts? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Huffman makes the motion. Dr. Sadler makes the second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. We always love to have an audience in the council chambers to be with us. Thanks for those folks watching at home, and we are adjourned.